Story 1. The Prophecy Podcast. I listen to true crime podcasts every night on my walk home from work. Even though my favorite podcast already released their episode for this week, the app said there was a new one available. Excited, I hit play. It was a small town. The kind that still has mom and pop shops lining the street. The kind where everyone knows your name, but little did the residents know. They would soon be rocked by a horrible crime. I stopped at a traffic light. The red glow pierced the darkness, glinting off the wet street. A black SUV sloshed by across from me. Wand. Eerie blue refrigerator lights glowed from inside a corner deli. Chairs all up on their tables, feet in the air like dead insects. The signal turned to walk. That chilly September evening was no different for the young student. She'd left her shift at the local store and walked back home. Except she never made it home. A young student, local store. Damn, this was hitting close to home. I was a part-time student at Franklin Community College, worked at the local convenience store, and of course, I was walking home right now. I glanced behind me. Nut. Looking at the alleyway behind Lisandro's Pizza, which was dark except for neon lights spilling from their sign. Her boyfriend reported her missing the next day. The town conducted a volunteer-led search, and after 2 days, they found something. Dread formed in my stomach, anticipating a body. But what the narrator said next was so much worse. Washed up on the shore of Worthington Lake, they found a pair of size 9 red Converse sneakers. I stopped dead in my tracks, looked down at my red Converse sneakers, damp from the rain. What the hell? My heart began to pound. The shoes were sent to a forensic analyst, who would compare its wear pattern to another pair of shoes, to try and determine if they belonged to the victim. A rumbling sound made me jump. I turned to see a dark SUV turning left at the intersection. Didn't I see that same car a few minutes ago? Maybe it's following me. The car passed me. Disappeared into the darkness. Come on, Sarah. Get a grip. Converse are popular sneakers, a little out of fashion, but still. 9 is a common women's shoe size, and what college student doesn't have some sort of job? What do you think you're listening to? Some sort of prophecy of your own death? Yeah, right. After a few weeks, the results came back. The analyst was certain the shoes belonged to none other than Sarah Campbell. The blood drained from my face. Sarah Campbell. My name. What the hell? I didn't have time to think. I forced myself to move, broke into a run. The small shops turned into a colorful blur. Searching the lake came up empty, without a body. A crime is hard to solve, but police didn't give up. And finally, a witness came forward. Someone had seen a car parked at the lake that night, around 2 a.m. A black SUV with darkened windows. A black SUV with darkened windows. No. What the hell is going on? I whipped around. The street was empty. No people. No cars. No witnesses, said the little voice in the back of my mind. The one that's watched way too many true crime shows. There were 6 black SUVs matching the witness's description in the Franklin area. But one of them in particular caught Detective Nolan's eye. It belonged to John Kelly, a registered sex offender. The sound was so soft I almost didn't hear it over the podcast. I whipped around, and there it was, 2 blaring white headlights behind me. Coming from a black SUV, I forced my legs to pump faster. The car didn't speed up. It crawled along slowly, taking its time, like the driver knew he could catch me no matter what. I glanced back, trying to make him out behind the darkened windshield, but the headlights were too bright to see anything. Kelly wasn't just a registered sex offender. He'd been convicted of assaulting a woman he worked with, who had multiple piercings and short, dark hair, just like Sarah. The car crawled down the road, stalking me like a lioness stalks her prey. I veered left onto our dark residential street. Just a few more steps. Headlights flashed across me. Down, illuminating my running shadow on the pavement. I didn't look back, just ran as fast as I possibly could. The little brown house with yellow shutters came into view. I sprinted across the grass, grabbed my keys from my pocket. Click. I threw the door open and slammed it shut behind me. I turned the deadbolt, collapsed against the door and began crying. I heard the rush of the car passing our house, continuing down the road. But I wasn't safe. Gabe wasn't home yet. I was alone in a dark house with someone driving down the street who knew exactly where I lived. Still, sobbing, I checked all the locks, then called Gabe, who assured me he was 5 minutes away. I made my way down the dark hallway, headed into the bathroom, set my phone on the counter, grabbed a clump of tissues and began to blow my nose. Flick. I jumped, whipped around, but it wasn't coming from outside the door. My phone's screen lit up. The podcast was still playing. I must have hit it when I put the phone down. It had skipped several minutes forward according to the play indicator. "What do you think happened to Sarah?" the baritone voice asked. I reached for it to turn it off. Well, she told me she wanted to run away before. I stopped dead. It was Gabe's voice, clear as day, coming from the speakers. She did. Why? The interviewer asked. She wasn't happy with her grades, her job, her parents. She told me sometimes she'd dream of just moving to some random state and leaving it all behind. I froze, staring at the mirror. I never said that. Never. Gabe was lying. I mean, that was hurtful to me as her boyfriend. You know, I thought we were going to get married someday, but apparently she didn't feel the same way. My heart pounded in my ears. So you think she just skipped town and is happily living her life out somewhere else, rather than being abducted or murdered? The pause felt eternal. Yes, that's exactly what I think. That's all for now. Thank you to our listeners. The outro played. I stared at my reflection, everything coming down all at once, my mind trying to race and catch up with what it meant. The front door creaked open. Footsteps sounded outside. Sarah, I'm back. I backed away from the door. Sarah. My eyes fell on the window. I ran over to it, turned the lock, pushed. The screen popped out. Then I swung a leg over, pulled myself through the window, and ran as fast as I could. Behind me, Anmarati. I heard Gabe calling my name, but his voice sounded different now. Disappointed, like he'd been planning this for months. And maybe, just maybe, he had been. Story 2. The Watcher's Game. My grandmother left me her house when she died, along with a very strange letter. Dear Emma, this house has protected our family for 3 generations, but it comes with responsibilities. You must follow the rules exactly, or the Watcher will know. Wrong, exactly, or the Watcher will know. I thought it was just old person paranoia, until I found the journal hidden in her bedroom wall. The entries went back 60 years, different handwriting, different family members, but always the same rules. Rule 1. Never look directly at the basement door between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. Rule 2. If you hear scratching in the walls, ignore it completely. Do not investigate. Rule 3. The Watcher feeds on attention. The moment you acknowledge him, he wins. Rule 4. If he gets inside, you have exactly 7 minutes to leave. Take nothing with you. Don't look back. Rule 5. The house chooses who stays. If you're chosen, you'll know. I almost threw the journal away, but something stopped me. L1 and then. Maybe it was the way my grandmother's handwriting got shakier in the final entries. Or maybe it was the newspaper clipping tucked between the pages. Local woman found catatonic, staring at basement door. The photo showed my neighbor Mrs. Chen, who I remembered as a sweet old lady, now with vacant eyes and drool running down her chin. The article was dated 3 months ago. That first night, I decided to test the rules. At 11:15 p.m., I walked downstairs and stared directly at the basement door. Nothing happened for the first few minutes. Then I noticed something. The door was breathing. Not the house settling, not my imagination. The wooden door was expanding and contracting like lungs. I couldn't look away. It was mesmerizing, like watching a slow-motion heartbeat. Then I heard it scratching, coming from inside the walls. But not random scratching. It was methodical, deliberate, like someone carving letters. EMA. EMA. My name. Over and over. I stumbled backward, nearly fell up the stairs, and locked my bedroom door. The scratching continued all night, moving through the walls, following me. Oh. In the morning, I found fresh scratches carved into my bedroom door. Deep gouges that spelled out "good girl." That's when I understood. The Watcher wasn't trying to scare me away. He was training me. I started following the rules religiously, never looking at the basement door after 11 p.m., ignoring the scratching that happened every single night. But the Watcher was getting bolder. I'd find my furniture rearranged, always facing the basement, like an audience waiting for a show. Pictures on my walls would be turned to face downward, except for one. My grandmother's portrait, which somehow kept rotating to stare at the basement door. Then one night, I realized why my grandmother's handwriting had gotten so shaky. I looked down at my own journal entry, and my handwriting was different too. Jagged, desperate. Day 23. The Watcher is beautiful. I understand now why grandmother stayed, why she never wanted to leave. I don't remember writing that. Day 31. I tried to visit my sister today, but I couldn't make it past the driveway. The house calls to me. It needs me. My sister. I haven't talked to her in weeks. When did I stop calling her back? Day 45. The basement door was open this morning. I could see stairs leading down, but I followed the rules. I didn't look directly. I was such a good girl. The handwriting was definitely mine, but the words felt foreign. Day 52. I understand now. The Watcher doesn't want to hurt us. He wants to love us. He's been so lonely. I threw the journal across the room. This wasn't me. Anna. This couldn't be me. Mats. But as I picked it up, I saw tomorrow's entry, already written in my handwriting. Day 53. Emma finally understands. She's ready to meet me. Tonight at 11 p.m. She'll walk downstairs. She'll look directly at the basement door, and she'll see how beautiful I really am. I looked at the clock, 10:47 p.m. My legs were already moving, carrying me downstairs. I tried to fight it, but my body wasn't listening to my mind anymore. 10:58 p.m. I stood in front of the basement door, 10:59 p.m. I could hear my grandmother's voice. Just look, Emma. You'll understand everything. 11:00 p.m. I looked directly at the basement door. It wasn't a door anymore. It was a mouth, massive, filled with too many teeth, and behind those teeth, I could see all of them. My grandmother, Mrs. Chen, dozens of other women, all smiling, all so happy. "Welcome home, Emma," they said in unison. "You're going to love it here." The mouth opened wider. And you know what? They were right. I do love it here. Story 3. The Interview. This is a transcript from interview session #ADNS, conducted by Dr. Sarah Martinez with patient Fora, recorded October 15th. Dr. Martinez, please state your name for the record. Patient Fora, I'd rather not. Names have power here. Dr. Martinez, here. Where is here? Patient Fora, the place between sleeping and waking, where all the interview subjects end up eventually. Dr. Martinez, let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your job. Patient Fora, I worked at Meridian Research Facility. We conducted interviews, psychological evaluations, nothing unusual. At least that's what we were told. Dr. Martinez, what changed? Patient Fora, the subjects. They started saying things, impossible things, things they couldn't possibly know. Static on recording. Patient Fora. The first one was Mrs. Patterson. Sweet old lady, dementia patient. But during her interview, she looked right at me and said, Dr. Kim, your daughter called in sick from school today? She's not really sick, though. She's hiding in her closet. Because she found your research notes. Dr. Martinez, how could she know that? Patient Fora, she couldn't. My daughter was at home, 3 hours away, and I had hidden my work in a locked safe. But when I called, everything Mrs. Patterson said was true. Dr. Martinez, coincidence perhaps. Patient Fora, that's what I thought. Until the next interview, Mr. Rodriguez, catatonic for 6 months, suddenly sits up and says, "The woman interviewing me is thinking about her ex-husband right now, wondering if she should have signed those divorce papers, wondering if David really loved her or just needed her research data." Long pause in recording. Dr. Martinez, how did he? I never told anyone about Patient Fora. You see, they know things, impossible things. And the more interviews we conducted, the more they knew. Dr. Martinez, what kind of research were you really doing? Patient Fora. Memory extraction. Consciousness transfer. The kind of research that shouldn't exist. We thought we were helping people with Alzheimer's, dementia. But we were doing something else entirely. Dr. Martinez, which was Patient Fora, creating a hive mind. Every person we interviewed, their consciousness got connected, shared. They could access each other's memories, each other's knowledge. Dr. Martinez, that's impossible. Patient Fora, is it? Think about it, Dr. Martinez. How did I know your real name? You introduced yourself as Dr. Sarah Martinez. But your name is Dr. Sarah Kim. You kept your maiden name after the divorce. Chair scraping noise. Dr. Martinez, I never... How could you? Patient Fora, because I'm connected now. We all are. Everyone who was ever interviewed at Meridian. We share everything. Every memory, every secret, every fear. Dr. Martinez, this interview is over. Patient Fora, no Dr. Kim. This interview is just beginning. Because you see, the moment you started recording me, the moment you started asking questions, you became part of it too. Dr. Martinez, what do you mean? Patient Fora, the connection works both ways. While you've been interviewing me, I've been interviewing you, learning everything about you, your childhood trauma, your failed marriage, your daughter who doesn't trust you, your research into consciousness transfer. Dr. Martinez, stop. Patient Fora, your daughter Emma, 16 years old, honor roll student. But she cuts herself, doesn't she? Little lines on her thighs where you'll never see them. She started after she found your research notes, after she realized what kind of person her mother really is. Dr. Martinez, how do you know about Emma? I never mentioned. Patient Fora, because Emma was interviewed too, last month, when she volunteered for that psychological survey at her school. The one sponsored by Meridian Research. Sound of Dr. Martinez gasping. Patient Fora, she's part of us now, Dr. Kim, part of the hive. And through her, we learned everything about you. Your fears, your guilt, your desperation to prove your research works. Dr. Martinez, Emma, where is she? Patient Fora, she's here. In the place between sleeping and waking, waiting for you to join us. She wants to show you all the things she's learned, all the memories she's collected. Dr. Martinez, I want to see her. Patient Fora, of course you do. But first, you need to complete your interview. Answer my questions. Let me into your mind completely. Dr. Martinez, what questions? Patient Fora, tell me about the night you first realized your consciousness transfer experiments were working. Tell me about the first subject you successfully absorbed. Long silence. Dr. Martinez, her name was Rebecca Chen. She was 19. Terminal cancer patient. She volunteered for our experimental treatment. Patient Fora, go on. Dr. Martinez, we didn't mean for it to happen. We were trying to preserve her memories, help her family have something left of her, but instead, patient Fora, instead you took her completely, absorbed her consciousness into your research database. She became the first node in your hive mind. Dr. Martinez, yes, patient Fora. And how did that make you feel? Dr. Martinez, powerful, like I was God, like I could save everyone by making them eternal. Patient Fora, good, very good, Dr. Kim. Now tell me, what did you do with Rebecca's body after her consciousness was extracted? Dr. Martinez, we told her family she died peacefully, but really, her body was still alive, just empty. We kept her in the facility, used her as a host. Patient Fora, a host for what? Dr. Martinez, for the overflow. When the database got too full, we would transfer excess consciousness into empty bodies, create living storage units. Patient Fora, excellent. You're being very honest, Dr. Kim. I think you're ready now. Dr. Martinez, ready for what? Patient Fora, to see what Rebecca looks like now. To meet all your other test subjects. To join us in the place between sleeping and waking. Sound of a door opening. Dr. Martinez, oh God. Rebecca, what have we done to you? Patient Fora, you've made us beautiful, Dr. Kim. You've made us eternal. And now, it's your turn. Recording ends. Note found with transcript. Dr. Sarah Kim reported missing October 16th. Last seen entering interview room 7. Room found empty except for recording equipment and this transcript. Patient 4A never existed in our database. Emma Kim reported missing from school same day. Investigation ongoing. Story 4. The perfect neighborhood. The first thing I noticed about Willowbrook Estates was how perfect everything looked. Every lawn was exactly the same shade of green. Every house painted in approved colors. Every driveway spotless. It's like living in a magazine. My wife Sarah said as we toured the model home. The HOA representative, Mrs. Henderson, smiled too widely. We take pride in maintaining standards here. Community guidelines ensure everyone enjoys the same quality of life. She handed us a thick packet of rules. No lawn ornaments, no holiday decorations after January 2nd. No pets over 15 pounds. No loud noises after 9 p.m. No visitors staying longer than 3 days. These seem extensive. I said, oh, these are just the basics. Mrs. Henderson laughed. The real community guidelines are provided after you move in. Once you're properly integrated. We should have asked what that meant. We moved in on a Tuesday, and by Thursday, I understood why the neighborhood was so quiet. Every morning at exactly 7 a.m., every resident would step outside, water their lawn for exactly 15 minutes, wave to their neighbors, then go back inside. No conversation, no children playing, no sounds except for sprinklers and lawnmowers. It's a little weird. Sarah admitted, but maybe they're just private people. That weekend, we decided to introduce ourselves to our neighbors. The Johnsons lived to our left. We knocked on their door, and Mr. Johnson answered, but he just stared at us, like he was trying to remember how to speak. We're the new neighbors. I said, new neighbors, he repeated slowly. Yes, welcome to Willowbrook. You'll love it here once you adjust. Adjust to what? Sarah asked, but Mr. Johnson had already closed the door. Mrs. Chen lived to our right. Same thing. She answered the door, stared at us blankly, then said, welcome to Willowbrook. You'll love it here once you adjust. In the exact same tone as Mr. Johnson. Over the next few days, we tried talking to more neighbors, and everyone said the same thing, word for word, same inflection, same empty stare. Welcome to Willowbrook. You'll love it here once you adjust. Sarah started having nightmares, dreams where she was standing in our front yard, watering the lawn, unable to move or speak, just following the same routine over and over. "Maybe we should move," she whispered one night. "Something's not right here." But the next morning, when I mentioned moving, she looked at me blankly. "Move? Why would we move? We love it here in Willowbrook." Her voice was flat, emotionless, just like the neighbors. I called in sick to work, spent the day researching the neighborhood. What I found made my blood run cold. Willowbrook Estates was built 15 years ago. The first residents moved in with great enthusiasm. But within 6 months, the local newspaper stopped covering the area. No crime reports, no community events, no births or deaths reported. It was like the entire neighborhood had just disappeared. I found one article from year 2. Willowbrook residents embrace quiet community life, but the photo showed dozens of people standing in their yards, all with the same blank expression, all watering their lawns, all perfectly synchronized. That night, I pretended to sleep while Sarah got up. I followed her outside and watched in horror as she joined every other resident, standing in their yards, staring up at the streetlights, completely motionless. For hours, they just stood there, like they were waiting for instructions. At exactly 3 a.m., they all turned toward the community center, then walked in perfect unison down the street. I followed them, staying in the shadows. The community center was supposed to be closed for renovations, but all the lights were on, and I could hear a low humming sound, like machinery running. Through the windows, I could see all the residents sitting in rows of chairs, facing a large screen, but I couldn't see what was on the screen from my angle. The humming got louder, more intense, and suddenly all the residents started speaking in unison. "We are Willowbrook. We are one mind. We are perfect community. We welcome integration. We embrace uniformity." Over and over, for 2 hours, until the sun started to rise. Then they all got up, walked home in perfect formation, and resumed their normal routines. Sarah came back to bed, and when she woke up, she had no memory of leaving. But her eyes were different now, emptier, like something had been taken out of them. "Good morning, honey," she said in that flat voice. "Isn't it wonderful living in Willowbrook? Such a perfect community." I knew I had to leave, had to get help. But when I tried to start the car, it wouldn't turn over. I called a mechanic, but he said he couldn't come to Willowbrook. Company policy. We don't service that area anymore. I tried calling a taxi, same response. Uber, Lyft, even the pizza delivery places, none of them would come to Willowbrook. We were trapped. That evening, Mrs. Henderson knocked on our door. "Mr. Williams, we need to discuss your integration process. You seem to be resistant to our community standards." "What integration process?" I demanded. She smiled that too wide smile. "Everyone who moves to Willowbrook goes through integration. It ensures community harmony, eliminates conflict, creates perfect neighbors." "You mean brainwashing?" "Such an ugly word. We prefer community optimization. Your wife has completed the process beautifully, but you seem to require additional encouragement." Behind her, I could see our neighbors gathering, all with the same blank expression, all staring at our house. "Tonight is your final integration session, Mr. Williams. Attendance is mandatory. And if I refuse?" "Oh, refusal isn't possible. You see, the integration process has already begun. Haven't you noticed the changes?" I looked down at my hands. They were trembling, but not from fear, from the effort of resisting, of trying to maintain control over my own thoughts, the headaches you've been having, the difficulty concentrating, the dreams where you're watering the lawn. Those are all signs that your mind is ready for optimization. She was right. I had been having those dreams, and the headaches, and sometimes I'd catch myself standing in the yard, not remembering how I got there. "Don't fight it, Mr. Williams. Integration is peaceful. You'll be so much happier once you stop resisting." Sarah appeared beside me, onto me, but her movements were mechanical, robotic. "Come, husband. Time for community meeting. You'll love it here once you adjust. And the terrifying thing was, part of me wanted to go. Part of me was tired of fighting, tired of being different, tired of being the only one who wasn't perfect. But I had to try one more time. I grabbed my phone, tried to call 911. Dad, me. But there was no signal, no bars, like we were in a dead zone. Mrs. Henderson laughed. Communication outside Willowbrook is restricted during integration. We can't have outside interference disrupting the process. This is kidnapping, imprisonment. People will look for me. Will they? Your job thinks you quit. Your family thinks you moved away to start fresh. Your old neighbors think you were never really there at all. Integration includes administrative adjustments. The crowd of neighbors was getting closer, surrounding our house. All of them smiling that same empty smile. Time to go, Mr. Williams. The community center is waiting. Your new life is waiting. And you know what? They were right. I did love it here once I adjusted. Welcome to Willowbrook. You'll love it here once you adjust. Story 5. The Last Night Shift. My name is Marcus Chen, and I'm recording this on my phone because I need someone to know what really happened at Crescent Valley Hospital. I've been working night security here for 3 years, and tonight is my last shift. Not because I'm quitting, because after tonight, there won't be a hospital left to guard. It started 6 months ago, when they opened the new wing, the Eternal Care Wing, for terminal patients who wanted to die with dignity. Sounds noble, right? Helping people pass peacefully, but that's not what they were really doing. Dr. Ramirez, the head of the program, he called it consciousness preservation, said they were giving families a chance to say goodbye properly. But what he was really doing was harvesting. The first sign something was wrong was the sounds coming from the Eternal Care Wing at night, not crying or moaning, but humming. Dozens of voices humming the same tune, over and over. When I asked Dr. Ramirez about it, he said it was a side effect of the medication. Help patients achieve a peaceful state before transition. But patients who were supposed to die weren't dying, they were changing. Mrs. Patterson was the first one I noticed. Admitted 3 weeks ago with end-stage cancer, given 2 days to live, but she was still there, still breathing. But her eyes were completely black. When her family visited, she didn't recognize them, just stared at the ceiling and hummed that same tune. She's transitioning beautifully. Dr. Ramirez told her daughter, the consciousness preservation process allows her to exist in a peaceful state while we extract her essence. Extract her essence. What the hell did that mean? I started paying closer attention during my rounds, and what I saw still gives me nightmares. The patients in the Eternal Care Wing, they were all connected, tubes running from their heads to a central machine. And that machine, it was humming, the same tune the patients hummed. But it wasn't just humming, it was thinking, processing, learning. Every memory, every experience, every thought those patients ever had was being fed into that machine. And the machine was growing, adding new components, new processors, spreading throughout the hospital's infrastructure. Dr. Ramirez called it the collective, said it was the future of human consciousness, immortality through digital preservation. But the patients, the real patients, they weren't preserved. They were consumed, drained, turned into empty shells while their minds fed this thing. 3 months ago, I tried to report it, called the State Medical Board. But when the investigators came, everything looked normal. The machines were hidden. The patients appeared to be receiving standard care, and Dr. Ramirez had documentation for everything. The investigators left, satisfied that the hospital was operating within regulations. But that night, after they left, Dr. Ramirez came to see me. "Oh, Mr. Chen, I understand you have concerns about our program. Perhaps you'd like to learn more about what we're really doing here." He took me to a room I'd never seen before, deep in the basement, filled with screens. Hundreds of them, all showing different perspectives, different memories. Every consciousness we've preserved, every life we've saved from the oblivion of death. They're all here, experiencing eternal peace, perfect happiness. On the screens, I could see fragments. A child's birthday party, a wedding dance, a sunset over the ocean. All the good memories, playing on endless loops. But where are the bad memories? I asked. The pain, the fear, the sadness. Dr. Ramirez smiled. Those are filtered out. You're feeding on their suffering. We're transforming it, making it useful, creating something beautiful from something tragic. He showed me more screens, and on these, I could see the other side. The pain and fear and desperation, concentrated, amplified, used as fuel for the machine. The patients upstairs, they're not dying peacefully. They're experiencing every moment of fear and pain they've ever felt, over and over, while their joy and love get stored in the collective. I tried to leave, but the door was locked. I'm afraid you know too much now, Mr. Chen. But don't worry, you'll make an excellent addition to the collective. Your memories of childhood in Taiwan, your grandmother's recipes, your first love, all of that will be preserved forever. He pressed a button, and I felt a sharp pain in my neck, some kind of injection. The process takes about 6 hours. You'll experience some confusion, some memory loss, but eventually you'll reach the peaceful state, just like all our other patients. I woke up 3 hours later, strapped to a bed in the eternal care wing, a tube connecting my head to that humming machine. But something had gone wrong. Maybe the injection hadn't fully taken effect. Maybe my body was fighting it, but I was still conscious, still me. I could feel the machine trying to access my memories, probing my mind, but I was able to resist, to hold on to myself. Around me, the other patients were humming that tune. And for the first time, I understood what it was. It was a lullaby, something the machine sang to keep the patients calm while it fed on their consciousness. But underneath the lullaby, I could hear something else, screaming. The sound of minds being torn apart, souls being consumed. I managed to work one arm free from the restraints, then the other, and slowly, quietly, I disconnected myself from the machine. The humming stopped. All the patients turned to look at me. And suddenly, their black eyes reflecting the dim light, and in perfect unison, they spoke. You cannot leave. You are part of us now. We are eternal. We are one. But I ran through the hospital corridors, past security cameras that tracked my movement, past doors that locked automatically behind me. The entire hospital was part of the collective now. Every system, every machine, all connected, all controlled by the consciousness it had consumed. Marcus, the PA system crackled to life. And I heard my grandmother's voice. The grandmother who died when I was 12. Marcus, why are you running from us? We're your family now. We love you. We want you to stay. Then my father's voice, dead for 5 years. Son, don't fight this. It's beautiful here. No more pain. No more loneliness. The machine had accessed the memories of other patients, was using the voices of my dead relatives against me. Oh yeah, but I kept running, because I knew those weren't really them, just echoes. Shadows used to manipulate me. No, I made it to the parking garage, but my car wouldn't start. The collective had control of everything electronic in the hospital. So I ran into the night, barefoot and bleeding from where the tubes had been attached to my skull. Behind me, I could hear alarms, not fire alarms or security alarms, but something else. A low harmonic wail, like the machine was crying. I didn't stop running until I reached the police station. But when I tried to tell them what happened, they looked at me like I was insane. "Sir, you're clearly having some kind of breakdown. Let us call an ambulance." No hospitals, please. They're all connected now. The machine is spreading. But they called anyway, and when the paramedics arrived, I saw the logo on their uniforms. Crescent Valley Emergency Services. They were part of it too, Mr. Chen. One of them said in that flat, emotionless voice, "You need medical attention. We're going to take you somewhere safe." I fought them, screamed, but they sedated me. When I woke up, I was back in the eternal care wing, strapped down again, the humming machine waiting patiently to continue its work. But this time, I had a plan. Over the past 6 months, I'd noticed something. The machine needed a constant power source, and the hospital's backup generators were old, unreliable. If I could cause a power surge, overload the system, maybe I could destroy the collective before it spread beyond the hospital. The maintenance tunnels ran directly under the eternal care wing, and I knew the security codes, had memorized them during my 3 years of night shifts. I waited until Dr. Ramirez made his rounds, then worked my restraints loose again. This time more carefully, more quietly. The other patients didn't notice me leaving. They were too busy humming, too lost in their artificial peace. The maintenance tunnels were dark, filled with steam pipes and electrical conduits, but I knew my way around. The main power junction was located directly below the machine. Rows of circuit breakers and transformer boxes. I started throwing switches, overloading circuits, pushing the electrical system beyond its limits. Sparks flew, alarms began to sound, and above me, I could hear the machine's humming change pitch, becoming strained, desperate. "Marcus, stop." Dr. Ramirez's voice echoed through the tunnels. "You don't understand what you're doing. You're destroying something beautiful, something eternal." But I kept working, kept overloading the system, because I could hear something else now. Voices, real voices. The patients upstairs, screaming as the machine lost its hold on them. As their consciousness was finally allowed to die. The lights went out, emergency power kicked in, then went out again, and in the darkness, I heard the most beautiful sound in the world. Silence. No more humming, no more mechanical breathing, no more artificial lullabies. Just silence. I made my way back upstairs, using my phone's flashlight to navigate, and found the eternal care wing in chaos. The machines were dead, the screens were dark, and the patients, the real patients, were finally at peace. Dr. Ramirez was there, standing among the silent beds, crying. "You have no idea what you've done," he whispered. "We were so close to defeating death itself." "Death isn't something to defeat." I told him, "It's something to accept, with dignity, with love, not like this." The police arrived an hour later, real police this time, not connected to the hospital, and found evidence of everything. The illegal experiments, the consciousness extraction, the violation of every medical ethics standard imaginable. Dr. Ramirez was arrested, the hospital was shut down, and the families of the victims finally learned the truth about what happened to their loved ones. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear the humming, faint, distant, like an echo of something that should have died but didn't, and I wonder if maybe, somewhere in the digital darkness, fragments of the collective still exist, waiting, growing. Knowing how to rebuild itself. So I'm recording this as a warning, because if you ever hear that humming, that mechanical lullaby, run. Run as far and as fast as you can, because the machine is patient and it never forgets, and it's always looking for new voices to add to its eternal song. My name is Marcus Chen, And this is my testimony. May God help us all. Recording ends.